At the end of the day, our life comes down to the culmination and the combination of our choices, decisions, and consequences. You probably heard by now, but there was a submarine boat unit that got stuck in the ocean and they died today. It's 5 people. Okay, and before they launched, there were safety concerns. People had accused the CEO of putting shoddy parts together for the sake of saving money. This is a ailment, a flaw, a foible that many companies are guilty of. They sacrifice parts, the right parts for profit, the right people for profit, and they end up losing, in this case, the ultimate sacrifice, which is life. Okay. As you're on your self-employment journey, and also to stay tuned for the very end for a surprise. As you're on your self-employment journey, you're going to be faced with choices. The choice to do the best you can, or do just enough to get by, or lie, or take someone's idea. Life is full of choices. Okay. Then you've got decisions. Are you going to actually become self-employed? Are you going to take the full leap? Are you going to take an 80% leap? It's all up to you. Okay, and the consequences that come there. Consequences have a negative connotation. And one of the biggest choices you're going to have to make being self-employed is that how are you going to do your work? Okay. Are you going to scythe through it? Just cut through, like we're in this forest. When people cut through forest, they scythe through it. They just cut through it violently. Okay. Are you going to scythe through your work? Are you going to do your work in a slapdash way? Okay. Are you going to put together shoddy parts on this submarine that went down? He was accused of using shoddy parts for the sake of saving money. Okay. And I can tell you right now, that's one of the most disastrous things you can do, is do your work in a slapdash way. You may make money. This goes back to trading future results for present happiness. Okay. If you do your work fast, you'll be able to have a lot of money come in, but then you're going to feel the pain in the future. As they say, fast money, slow problems. Okay. Do not scythe through your work. Don't be slapdash. And do not use shoddy products. It is not worth it. You will cause a lot of pain to yourself, to the people you work with. You could lose your company. You could get sued. All because of the choice that you made, a decision that you made, how you're going to do your work. Do your work to the highest quality standards possible you can. Okay. This is one reason all these people died. They're like, I was thinking I'm going to save a lot of money if I just do it this way. Okay, it's greed. This guy's greed, pride, killed him. Okay, don't fall for this trap. All right, it's not worth it. But there can be positive consequences too. Okay, and also too, there can be predictable consequences and productive consequences. All right, so I want you to really think about this. Life comes down to choices, decisions, and consequences. If you were to distill life to its essence, it's the result of what we've done before. We're here in this garden. There's fruit being born from this garden because those seeds were the choices, decisions, and the fruit is the consequences. Okay, well, so what's the difference between a choice and a decision? The choice is it's a intent made. It's something that is chosen. It's a path. It's a direction that's chosen. It doesn't have that big of an effect. Like a choice is like, okay, I'm going to go eat at Subway versus Popeye. That's a choice. Okay, it's usually a one-time thing, and it's multifaceted in its effect. It's an intent that's acted upon that ends up happening with an intended result at that period of time. Like it's one time. A decision is a choice that you make. A decision is a graduated choice. A decision is when you say, hey, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to move to this city. I'm going to stay here. A decision is an incision. It's a cut. You forsake other things. But that's what I'm trying to get at right now. But just remember, as you're on your self-employment journey, to really understand that even though the consequences may not be death a lot of times, they could be still pretty traumatic, okay? So think about this, whatever you're doing, if you're a lawyer, if you're a mechanic, if you're a boatsman, understand that your choices and decisions are going to create consequences. And this very macabre, unfortunate tragedy, these people ended up losing their lives. Okay. for the sake of making money, for the sake of their pride. People were telling him, hey, your ship isn't fit to go to the bottom of the ocean. He didn't listen to it. How many people say they don't need a product or service and they look back in hindsight and say, hey, I messed up? Instead of look back in hindsight, look into the hinterlands, look into what you can't see, look into the next year or two, and ask yourself, if someone's offering their service to you, you may need it. Okay, but remember, life comes down to choices, decisions, and consequences. You can choose today whether your business will be successful. You can almost press a button. With that type of reliability, you can press a button and say, metaphorically, my business is going to be more successful than it was a year ago. My business today is more successful than it was a year ago. Okay? And you get to make that choice. You make the decision that I'm going to stick with this business whether I go up or down. And when you have a business, you're always going to vacillate. You're always going to go back and forth. But don't quit, okay? But just remember that. And also, too, this is another important point. Consequences are more important than decisions. Okay? Look into the future as to where you're going to end up going based on what you do. If you act impulsively with that client who pisses you off, what's going to happen? You're going to get fired. And you're going to be choosing present happiness over future happiness. Okay? Don't do that. Present happiness is not worth as much as future happiness, because future happiness tends to it endures longer than the present moment. Don't trade present happiness for future happiness. Okay? A lot of times we need to have present pain for future happiness. Okay? Don't prefer present. Don't choose the present over the future. It's better to choose the future over the present. Excuse me. Okay, don't fall for insignificant gratification. That's really what it is at the end of the day. It's insignificant. It feels good, but it's really not worth it. Okay, and now this leads to today's surprise.